We Duff, we tell people, we often refer to our listener in the singular. It does change from week to week. Sometimes it's my mother-in-law.
Oh my God.
Sometimes it's someone from high school just probably making fun of me.
Listen, man, this is how it goes. This is how you build a business. When I started my bakery, I started by selling one cake.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you do it. You sell one, and then you sell another one. And then you sell another one. And that's how you do it.
That's
So,
it.
Duff, we'd like to interest you in a cake. I don't know if you're in the market for one. No.
I
Thank
love cake.
you. I know.
Allie will tell you I love cake.
Oh, we know.
You know, when
Um,
we first were working, I remember, Steve Krupnik would be like, yeah, Duff's trying to, like just watch his intake. And I remember you would like take these bites, these freaking spot on TV bites, by the way, like, and then like when, the cameras weren't there, you were just like you would just shoot that, so eject,
Yeah, it's just
real polite,
I
real
mean,
smooth,
you
real
can't.
smooth. Yeah.
You can't like you can't eat that much.
Yeah.
You can't eat 14 brownies in a day. It's just not
Yeah.
good for you, you know? Like you
Well,
gotta
especially when you're doing 4 freaking. I was there for a couple weeks. You were there all freaking summer. It's like cake summer camp. Like that's
Yeah.
nuts. That's no,
I
I
know.
get it.
And it's fun. It's like I lift every single day. I am on the treadmill for an hour at least every single day. When I'm not filming, I eat like meat and plants, and
Yeah.
that's it. Like I am like super dedicated, super focused. And still, like it is really hard to lose weight when you eat brownies for a living.
It's Amen.
Right? It's just
Totally.
I mean, I'm keeping it at bay. I can still move around and stuff, so I'm doing good, and I can still
Yeah.
keep up with my kid. But man, like it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Have the bakers, adult or child bakers, ever seen you spit out the bite, or do you kind of wait until they turn?
I'm like Ali was saying, like I'm pretty smooth about it. Like I just got like a stack of paper towels, and I just kind of like just do one of those. It's real fast. It's not like I'm like
Yeah.
it's none of that. Right?
In my mind,
I'll
though,
do it.
that's where I'm like, sweet, this is getting
Yeah.
good.
Those
Yeah,
are
yeah.
cut scenes. I'll send you the footage, Ollie. Ollie, can you do us the honors and give
Yeah.
a proper formal introduction? Have some decorum for our guests.
Okay, fine. I know, it's just I'm so excited. All right, this is going to be great. Here we go. Here's the opener. Today's guest is a culinary powerhouse, a creative force who's been delighting audiences and sweet tooths alike for years. He was first introduced to audiences almost 20 years ago as the star of Ace of Cakes, where he turned cakes into jaw-dropping works of art. Since then, he's continued to expand his Charm City Cakes empire and hosted and judged and competed on too many baking shows to count. He's currently the host and star of Food Network's Super Mega Cakes. I've been wanting to say it just like that for a while. He's an accomplished baker, author, musician, and artist. But beyond the fondant, he is busy doting on his biggest accomplishment to date, being the proud dad of his 4-year-old daughter, Josephine. Duff Goldman, welcome to World's Greatest Dad.
Which one of us is it? Is it all three of us?
It's we're the jury's out.
All right.
We, it's one of us. Sometimes the guest. If we
Usually
were all
the
in
guest.
person together, perhaps we would battle to the
You know
death.
who the world's greatest dad is?
Wow,
Please.
we're getting right to the lightning.
Yeah,
round.
right,
Go
yeah.
for it.
It's Bandit.
It's who?
Oh,
Bandit. Bluey's dad.
Yeah, Ollie, you missed this because your child is too old.
Yeah.
Oh, you
happens.
didn't watch any Bluey?
Nah.
No.
I mean, it's not too
Dude.
bad.
I have learned more about parenting from Bluey than anything else. Well, it's just it's so good. The way Bluey's written and I think Bluey's for adults. It really is. Bluey is like, hey, parents, this situation, this is how you deal with it. Right? Like it's so good. It's just so It really, it's Bluey's great, man. It's really, it's like, it's just, it's every situation. It's just like the way it's like, okay, I've been in this situation where like my kid is interrupting me too much, and like the way I handle it and the way Bluey's dad handles it are very different. And the way Bluey's dad handles it, you're like, oh, that is so much more, helpful to like, I don't know. It's just great.
Yeah. It is funny because it's like Bluey is, I'm sure you've heard of Bluey, Ollie. You've heard of it? It's a
Mostly
big,
through
big
this
show from
podcast.
Australia. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big
I don't
deal,
know the
all right?
plot. I don't know
It's
anything.
like
Yeah.
it's like one of the most streamed shows. I don't even want to say kids shows, probably in the world. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of it does have to do with the fact that it operates on a few different levels. It's kind of like, Disney movies from back in the day or like Shrek. They've got like the jokes for the kids, the jokes for the adults. It's very relatable.
Go
And
watch the episode Sleepy Time. It is an absolute work of art, and I guarantee you're going to cry at the end of it.
Wait,
It's
how long is this episode? This is like a 40.
20,
It's like a
22 minutes, I think. Maybe less. No, it's like, yeah, they're like 12 minutes.
what's it
yeah,
called?
it's
Sleepy
short.
Time.
It's
That's
short.
the episode.
Yeah, Sleepy Time. Watch the episode Sleepy
Cool.
Time, and you will. It's just it's like one of the most beautiful 12 minutes of television ever made.
Damn.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
it's
great.
Did you
yeah.
find it difficult to jump into? I mean, like literally, we just jumped right into just dadding, which is great. Usually we have a little ease in, but this is great. When you became a father, because you lived a life there where you had before times, you had quite a bit of before times. Were you like, I'm ready, I'm in, like, give me the dad jokes, give me the kid TV, give me the puree, give me the formula? I don't know, like, or were you just like, okay, this is a transitional time and I have to figure this out?
I think I was like 100% ready. I was like, because I've been, I've been telling the dad joke since I was 12,
Mm,
so that's there. I've been dressing like a dad since I was 16. I haven't changed.
mm,
I still
mm.
have my Gen X cargo camo pants.
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
I think I was just
Yeah.
ready for it. I was totally
Yeah.
ready for it. Like I don't yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough to say because like I think for like a humongous chunk of my life, for most of it, I was absolutely terrified of. You guys want to get deep?
Yeah. That's
I was
what we're here for.
absolutely terrified of having kids because like my childhood was crazy. It was pretty nuts. Like my parents split up when I was in like second grade, and it wasn't like amicable. There were times like my school bus would pull up to school. This happened a couple times where like, I'd be on the school bus and the bus would get to school and there'd be cops waiting for the school bus and I'd have to go
Mm,
with the cops to deal with whatever situation was going on. You know what I mean? Just those kind of like
yeah.
bad stuff, right? Bad stuff was going on. And so, for like a huge chunk of my life, I was like, I cannot inflict what happened to me on another, like I can't have a kid and then do what, like create the life that was created for me for that kid. I can't do it. And I don't trust myself to do it. I don't trust myself to not do it. Sorry. And so like for the longest time I was just absolutely terrified. I wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids. It was just everything about it was awful. And so and then I met my now wife, Jana, who Allie knows really well. And I tell you, man, it was like I mean, I know, I remember the exact moment. So it was Easter of like 2018, I think. And I was I was getting ready to go pick her up and take her. We had been dating for, I don't know, 8 months at the time. And I was getting ready to pick her up, take her to her mom's house. And we were going to have like big Easter, brunch feast thing. And it was going to be fun. So I was in the shower and I was shaving my head and literally like a lightning bolt or like a donkey kick to the chest. I was like sitting here just shaving, and all of a sudden I was like, huh, I'm in love with that woman. And then the very next thought was, I want her to have my kids.
Mm.
And then my next thought was, you need to ask her to marry you right now. And I got out of the shower, shaving cream on my head, looking for my phone because I had to call her and like let her know that we were getting married because obviously, you know. And so, so I was like, wait. I had to like stop myself, get back in the shower, finish shaving my head. I got out of the shower. I called this buddy of mine who's just kind of been like a mentor for me. And I was like, yo, this crazy thing just happened to me. And I told him that whole story. And he was like, well, then ask her to marry you. And so then we went to Easter, and I pulled her mom aside, and I was like, hey, listen, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to ask your daughter to marry me. And she was like, I'm down, do it. And so that night, we had Easter, and then we came home, and I sat her down, and I didn't have a ring. I made a ring out of butcher's twine and gave it to her. I was like, this is all I got because I can't wait. I need to tell you this right now. Told her the whole story, and and that was it. And so something changed in that moment where before I was absolutely terrified, did not want to have kids, did not want to get married, wanted nothing to do with furthering my line, nothing. Like it was like, and to, of course, this, I'm going to marry this woman, and of course she's going to have kids. And my kid's the most amazing kid I've ever met, and it's like, thank God,
I feel like you had Josephine not too much. You didn't wait too long before you had her after you got married, right? How long was that? What was that time frame?
Yeah, it was let's see, she was born let's see, January 31st in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got married January of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 2 years,
Okay, 2
you know.
years. So
Well,
you're
Johnny got pregnant about a year and change into it, I
Yeah, I
guess.
hear it
Yeah.
takes about 9-10 months for the whole
Yeah.
thing to cook.
was that off that Reddit page you're telling me about, the Dadit
Yeah,
page? I
Daddy.
just found
Daddy
out.
is
Have you heard
great
about
for
that?
anything about the human body. Just yeah, I mean, ChatGPT is also good these days. Who needs real
Yeah,
information? Doesn't matter.
yeah.
Yeah, no. So was there any part of you, Duff, that was like, because obviously you were worried. Oh my God, am I going to make all these mistakes? And I don't want to, put my kid in a chaotic home. Were you like, when you had that realization in the shower, were you like, oh, I know that's not going to happen. It can't happen with Jonna
Yeah.
because we're going to create something new, something different, something amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. It was like all of the fear was gone. 100% of it. It just, it's like when people tell you like, oh, like when you fall in love, like you'll know it, you know like you don't
Mm.
have to, like it's not a question, like you just know it, right? Like that's what happened. I literally fell in love at that moment. Like that's when it hit me. And it's weird because it felt external, truly felt that it came from somewhere else,
Hmm.
Hmm.
like it was like, because here I am, do everything's fine, all of a sudden, whoa, what just happened, like it was amazing. It was totally incredible.
Based on the setting, there were a lot of different places that I thought that story might go. I was worried that you were going to start bleeding from the head.
Oh,
I mean, he's in the shower. He could have slipped and fallen. So I am happy that it ended with just a realization of deep love.
Oh man, yeah, it was funny because like the whole, like on the drive over to her apartment, I was freaking out because I was like, this is crazy. I've never felt like this before, and I'm like, okay, I'll I'll know it when I see her. So like I'm pulling up, like she's gonna come down, and I'll see her leave the building. And when I see her, I'll know, right? That's a good, like I'll know if this is real or what's going on. And so I'm, down in the street waiting for her, and she opens the door to her building, steps out, stumbles, drops a bunch of stuff, and I was like, 100%, I'm going to marry that girl.
So you had this huge rush when you're like, I'm going to get married after many, 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 many years of going, yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah.
What was it like when you were like, when she's like, hey, by the way, now I'm pregnant. We're gonna have a kid. What was that like?
um, incredibly joyful. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was like she was like, and held up the thing, and she's like, check that out, and I was like, what does that mean? She's like, we're having a kid, and it was great. Like it was like really like it was like nothing like there was, we didn't do any. So she didn't like plan some big elaborate thing. She was like, hey, guess what?
Took the old
Your
testaroonie.
boys can swim.
Yeah. So, did you do any like let's talk about the prep here, like you're gung ho, you're like Duff's ready to get married, Duff's ready to have a kid. Like, did you read the books? Were you a book guy? Like what's going
Uh-uh.
on there? No.
No,
No.
I
No.
didn't.
No. You're
I
just
don't know. I was
you
like,
figure it out.
you figure it out. You figure it out.
100%.
You know what advice I give to dads, like people that are gonna be dads? I always tell them like, don't listen to anybody. Just don't listen to what people say. Every kid is the same, or every kid is different. Every
Mm.
parent is different. Every situation is different. It's just you just figure it out, right? You have a kid, and you're just like, okay, like use your head. We've been doing this for a while,
Yeah.
and we figured it out. Like, but so Jonna was really good. She got this like this really great app that like the second she got pregnant, she like gets on this app, and it's this wonderful community where like you're basically like paired with all these other women who are expecting at the exact same time, and so you're kind of all going through like similar things, and they all talk to each other, and it was really like she would show me some of the things that like they would all talk about. It was beautiful, right? It was really it was like that's when you see technology and you're like, that's awesome, right?
Hmm.
That's good. And so, she was very aware of like all the, the milestones and the medical stuff. And just like, as things are progressing, she was good about like keeping me informed of like, okay, that like now we got to do this and now we have to go buy that thing or, whatever it was. But as far as like doing research and everything, I just, I was like, I really just kind of go with my gut.
Mm.
I look at my friends the ones that I think are like good dads, and I watch what they do, and I'm like, that's a cool thing. When you know what, you know what, one of the things that I do, and I've been doing it for a while, is on Kids Baking Championship. I talk to all of those parents because the kids that make it on Kids Baking Championship are exceptional children.
Hmm.
They're just cool. They're you can tell they're just raised right. They're polite, they're curious, they're unafraid to try new things. Like there's all those things that you want for your kid, like man, I want you to be bullheaded and get out there and stick your nose in things and don't be afraid to fail and all that stuff. Those kids on Kids Baking Championship, that's really, kind of how they do it. And I've talked to a lot of those parents about like, hey, what's the secret? What are you doing right? Because this kid's amazing, and I've gotten some really, really great advice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What's the best advice you've gotten from a KBC parent?
Just get behind them, get behind them and like, open those doors and let them walk through them. If there's a door they want to go through, help them see what's on the other side. But the other thing too is like you really got to help them follow through on stuff. That's like it's easy to get kids interested in playing the drums.
Hmm.
I could show a kid like a video of like Danny Carey, and they'll be like, "Cool, yeah, I want to do that. That looks fun." But like getting them to that point where they can play like Danny Carey and sticking with it, and really, helping them like finish tasks, which like I am a very task oriented guy. Like I'm a carpenter, I'm a baker, I'm a chef, like all these things like I have like a really solid old world New England work ethic, where it's just wired into me. And so I'm trying, that's one of the things I'm really trying to impart on Josephine is like being able to like stick with it till it's done, do the job till it's done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we
how does
talk
this
about that
trans
a lot. Yeah. Go for it, hon.
I'm very curious. How does this translate? Because she's 4, so I'd love to know, like, if you're like, hey, listen, measure twice, cut once. Like, what's going on? I'd love to know that New England work ethic for a 4-year-old girl.
She can drive a nail.
You're
Full
serious?
on. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
She can drive a nail. She's
Yeah.
4. She's got her own toolbox, and it's cute. It's pink.
Yeah.
It's got little drawers, right? And the little thing, and she has a real hammer. She's got channel lock. She's got clamps. She's got a whole screwdriver set. Like she's got tools because we're always in the shop doing
Yep.
stuff, and she can drive a nail. It's
No,
great.
no little Tykes toolbox. We're talking like a real deal.
It's a real toolbox with
All
real
right.
tools in it. Yeah, and she knows that they're tools. They're not toys. Like she knows that. She cuts. She cuts with my chef's knife. I'm standing right next to her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm like helping her sort of like I'm making like she knows that it's pointy and sharp and it could hurt
Yeah.
her, but
Right.
she cuts, like I got
Yeah.
her, she knows how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Does she play the drums?
Yeah, there's a video on Instagram where
Okay.
she sat at the kit and I was playing the upright,
Yeah.
and then
Mm.
she was sitting there and she was like deliberately hitting cymbals and deliberately hitting drums. Like, it wasn't a beat. It sounded like free jazz, but whatever. It was cool.
Yeah. You you've got a punk rock background. I mean, like literally and figuratively. Isn't that like I'm so curious because you're it's like you contain multitude stuff. You're both like these are the rules, you got to follow through, but you're also like break all the rules, fuck around, experiment. How do you how do you reconcile those two things in your own life and like how can you explain that to your kid? It's like structure, unstructured. I mean, this is something we talk about a lot here, right? Is like you want to give your kids rules, you want to give your kids freedom. Like, where's the line? At least, how are you navigating that?
So it's basically, I think that just comes down to there is the like to everything that we do, like whatever it is. There's the art of what you do, and there's the craft of what you do, and they're different,
Mm.
right? Those two things are different, right? So you got to like, you know, to be able to riff on a cake recipe, you gotta first understand how to bake a cake correctly. And then once you know how to do it correctly, then you can get creative. But you got to do it right first. There's a way to do anything, there's a way to do podcasts. So there's like the nuts and bolts of, you guys put your podcast together, and then there's the art of it. There's your dazzling wit. Right.
Wait, we need to
What?
look. Neil, write that down. Let's look into that.
Wait, got on it. Isaac, our intern.
Right, but that's kind of that's and that goes for anything. That goes for writing a book. That
Sure.
goes for building a car. That goes for baking a cake. It goes for making a birdhouse. Like there's like the nuts and bolts of like this is how you measure. This is how you paint. This is how you sand. Right. Those are all sort of things that just have a sort of a progression of steps that you need to do in the correct order. But within those steps, in the spaces, the spaces in between the notes is where the magic happens, right? That's where the art happens.
This is why Duff's such a perfect storm. All of a sudden, it goes. He went from like a cake baking recipe to like I think he's writing a song right now. That's so wild. So
Yep.
look, I'm gonna say this. You're talking about your 4-year-old girl. I can't hammer a nail. She's cooking all this stuff, right? But I think something we could all relate to is when things don't always go to plan. Anyway, let's hear about how you're navigating the fact that I believe your child is maybe easing out of the toddler era, but you feels like you've been in it. Let's hear about some of perhaps the rage, some of the other sides that some of us have had to deal with as parents with
Oh man,
with the
yeah. It's
littles.
the thing about Josephine is that, and like I'm saying this objectively. I'm not like, oh my kid. she's really smart. And like, it's one of the things that, and I'm just gonna, at the risk of sounding like a douchebag, um, I'm not dumb either. And there's navigating the world when you're smart can be tough. It can be tough, and it can make social stuff difficult because you, it's just tough, right? It's hard. And so one of the things that I've really been trying to help her with is like just how to navigate, how to navigate that. Like a lot of times, like, listen, you're going to be in class, and like there's some of your friends are not going to understand things that you just understand, and you need to like you need to learn patience. I think the biggest thing is just patience. Like it's really hard for her sometimes, because she's like, I get this, why are we not moving on, um so there's that, I think really work like helping her to like understand like how to be patient, how to be in the moment. Because I've found that a lot of times like she sort of like comes to an understanding of a situation relatively quickly and then is ready to move on. It's like, hey, hold on a second, you know, like enjoy this sunset, enjoy the silence of this beach, like there's a lot of times there where it's like, okay, what's next? We went to the redwoods, and she's like, okay, there's a big tree, what's next? And I'm like, let's look at this tree for a minute, you know so getting her to kind of slow down is one of those things that I've really tried to work on because it's important, like there's there's I've caught her a couple times, like like staring out the window on a road trip, right? And like when I see it, whenever I see her, like, and she's just, watching the world go by, like I'm always like really quiet. I want to let her like, because I know exactly what she's doing, and I know what her brain's doing, and it's just floating in space, it's just on its own little journey. And I really try to encourage those moments because that's one of the things that really helps her slow down is when you trust your mind enough to let it off the chain and just see where it goes and be a passenger. uh, cool stuff happens, right? But that's when a lot of magic happens, when we're being creative. So that's one thing that I really try to encourage. A lot of it is just like, hey, go to your room and scream in your pillow because nobody's we're not doing this right now. You know what I mean? Like she's like, just freaking out about something. She doesn't want toast, doesn't want peanut butter on the toast. I don't know, whatever it is. She's losing her mind. It's like, go scream in your pillow, and she will. She'll go in her room. She'll put her face in her pillow and she'll scream in the pillow, and then she'll come back out and be like, I'm sorry. It's like, it's all good, Like, so we've been trying to like teach her like healthy ways to, because like, listen, man, you got that energy's running around your body, and you see it in them when that energy's running around their body. It's bouncing off the walls like a pinball, and you got to be like, you got it now. This is sort of like one of those moments where you have to really help them let that out, but let it out in a way that's not harmful to themselves or to the people that they love, and like, so, we've that's another one that we've really been kind of working on.
That's cool. I'm curious, yeah, as you were saying, that Josephine's like, yeah, I got it. Let's move on. I'm wondering, does she get that from one of you? And if so, how did you kind of learn to slow down? Or, because I know like you're an ambitious guy, you are always doing something, you're always working on something. How, like how has parenting, I guess, slowed you down? Or, were these techniques, growing up, as you said, in kind of like a chaotic environment, like how did you teach yourself the emotional regulation that you're kind of able to pass down?
um I don't know if I have. Right, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
that's a lifelong quest for all of us, right? I mean, that's like, becoming our own master is is something that, I think everybody in the world struggles with, I mean, all of us, right? We all struggle with just, we all know the things we should be doing all the time. We don't do them, you know, it's that's one of them. But I think, I don't know. I have an older brother, and we're very, very close. We've been very close for a long time. I mean, he's only 22 months older than me. So, I mean, we were, you know, especially when you go through like that kind of messy divorce situation, like it was like the two of us versus everybody else, But at the same time, I was also like, I when I was a little kid and still to this day, very much cherish my alone time. And I need a lot of it. I'm a bear and I'm constantly thinking and doing stuff and I have to be alone a lot. And uh, I've, one of the things I try to help Josephine with is like how to be alone and how to appreciate that alone time, you know. Um, and that's, that goes back to like, patience, but also just helping her turn this thing on, and like really get, creative and really get imaginative, with the way that she plays. And man, she's got it. Like she's got it. And she's got the music in her too. Like she is constantly humming and snapping and drumming and shit, like it just, if there's music around, she's tuned into it. Like no matter, she was a kid, like she was not even two yet. I mean, she was like one and change, and it was just me and her at the grocery store, and she's sitting in the basket, and I'm shopping, and she had this thing like she would like do this little baby dance whenever she heard music, and which is all the time, like there's constantly music in the house. And so she's sitting in the basket and she starts doing her music dance. And I was like, "What? There's no music in here." Like I was like, kind of like looking around, kind of listening. I'm like, "There's no music in here," and it was like stopped, and she kept doing it, and I just sort of stopped. And I was like really listening, and then like way, way, way up in the rafters, there's like a speaker that's playing a song that was like I was like deaf to it. I just couldn't even hear it. I had to really search for it, and I found it. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, man! She is like she's really paying attention, and she just loves music. It's great. It's great. Very first song she heard, she was a newborn, and when they put us, this is so beautiful, but they like put us, the three of us, in a room, and they finally left us alone, and it was like the first time, and I brought a speaker with me, and I played uh All Fly Away by Alison Krauss, was the first song she ever heard, which it's a beautiful song. It's really, really good. And that was her first music. This is really nice. She now she loves the Eurythmics.
So I'm kind of curious. You're like a guy who, if you were my dad, Duff, I'd be like, man, my dad, like, he's like this super awesome baker. And my dad, like, he's a musician. Like, you do like a lot of like, he can build things. He showed me how to use a hammer. I was only two. Like, like you do all this like pretty like cool fun stuff in the grand scheme of dad things, when there's like dad accountant, dad banker, dad, I don't know, I'm not trying to be disparaging, Uber driver, whatever, like you do all this like pretty cool fun stuff. What's something that she's into that maybe isn't your wheelhouse? I know you're a writer, John is a writer too, but I'm just kind of curious what it seems like she's just like Renaissance woman, like doing all kinds of stuff. But what's something that's maybe not part of the typical Duff bucket of talents that she's into? She seems like a big prodigy to me. That's what I'm
Dolls.
hearing. Yeah,
I can't do it.
you can't
I
play with
can't,
dolls,
whenever I try to play dolls with her, I'm just like, I don't got this. I can't. I can't.
really.
Hmm.
There's a spider in the basement. I'm in the basement right now, and there's a spider that has been next to this one little spot. He's been there for like 4 or 5 days. And the other day, Jana was somewhere, and just the two of us were in the basement, and she was like riding on my back, and I was like a horse, So I was like on my hands and knees, and she had a flashlight, and she shined it on this one spot on the wall, and there was a spider. And she's like, "Oh, look, a spider!" And she's usually like, she's not super scared of spiders, but she'll definitely get a little nervous. And she's like, "Oh, a spider!" And I was like, "Oh, let's go over there." And I just like walked over with her, and we sat down, and she like was shining the light on him, and she could see him and everything. And so she was still like, I was like on my belly, laying on the floor. She's sitting on on my back, and the spider is kind of right in front of us, so she can't really see my face. So she was asking me questions about him, about the spider, and I was like, "Why don't you ask him?" And she's like, "Hey, Mr. Spider." And then I did this like weird voice. I was like, "Yes." And then she started like interviewing the spider. And then I was like the voice of the spider. That I can do, right? That's great. Like that's fun. That's silly. But man, Barbies, I just can't. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I can't. She's like, "Dad, you want to play doll?" I'm like, no.
And she likes her dolls. She likes her Barbie. She likes all
She
that
does.
stuff.
She really does. Yeah, and it's really cute because she has pretty elaborate situations that they get in.
Did you not play with like action figures? Did you have that growing up? GI
No, I
Joe,
did.
if you
Yeah,
will.
I was a total like GI Joe head.
Okay.
You
It's
know?
just the actual doll, like something in a more like let's go shopping or it's that more
Yeah,
domesticated
yeah.
life that you're like,
I don't
what a
know.
waste of
I
time.
I think Josephine's dolls are they're. I mean, maybe they have to go shopping after they're curing cancer. But
She no, they're like she likes weird stuff. She likes her favorite movie is Nightmare Before Christmas. We just watched the Peter
Wait,
Jackson
wait.
King
Let's
Kong.
back it up for a second. Nightmare Before she's 4. That's is it?
Yeah,
Wasn't that a little scary? No.
she was like 2.5 when she first saw it, and she just loves
Whoa.
it. Yeah,
Whoa. Okay.
she's like weirdly goth.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, here's where I think it might come from. So when Jonna was pregnant, we we were in a used bookstore, and we're like looking for books, and I found this like this really cool book from the 90s, and it was like uh it's called Discover the Human Body. And so it's like it's thick like this, and it's got inside of it this like plastic model of a human body, and then as you turn each like really heavy page, a layer of the body lifts off, and then there's like under it's like, so here's like the body, and then here's all the muscles, and here's some organs, and then here's the skeleton, and then it's really dope. And each page has all this information about all this stuff, and so I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get this, for our kid." And she's like, that's for like, grown kids. That's for like, 16-year-olds. I'm like, "Yeah, but it's cool, right?" So I got it, and I think she was probably 2, and she's like, "What's that book?" It's sitting on her shelf, and I was like, I pulled it down, and we went through it, and I explained all the different stuff, and she was fascinated, absolutely fascinated. She is fascinated by her guts and her bowels and how poop works, and she knows how it works. Like we've explained like all the processes that happen, and she's just fascinated by like bones and blood and guts. We have these ducks. We got some ducks, and uh one of them got attacked by an animal, and so there was this like chunk of skin hanging off the duck, and so like I got the duck, and I was like, putting peroxide, and I was like trying to get this chunk of skin sort of back on, and Josephine stood there the whole time and was just like, fascinated, fascinated, like not like, "Oh my God," like, wow, like I don't know. Yeah, she likes blood and guts. She's weird. Oh, okay. You want to hear something funny? I was watching. I was sick, and I was watching Indiana Jones, the first one, and I was like by myself upstairs, and watching TV, and Josephine comes upstairs right at the point where they open the Ark, and all the Nazis' faces melt. And so I like paused it. I was like, "Baby, this part's really scary," and she's like, "I want to see it." And I was like, "Okay." So I was like, this is something she's going to tell her therapist. And so I hit play, and that scene happens, and all the Nazis' faces melt, and she's sitting right next to me, and I'm kind of like watching her, and like they all sort of melt, and she just goes,
So it's so funny when you brought up the Nightmare Before Christmas. I remember having Heath. He was, I don't know, somewhere between 1 and 2 ish, whatever. And we were at a where we lived in this building. They had a big like outdoor movie screening, and they had freaking Indiana Jones, and it was like one of those early like first 5 minutes of the movie, and I'm holding him like this, right? And we're like, oh, cool. And we're like, oh, yeah, this is like when we were kids. Like, look, Heath, check this out. And he literally, like, snapped his neck back the other way. And we're like, we got to get out of here. Like, this was bad. We did a bad. We did a real bad. Like, it was not good. It was, and even all the way up until Black Panther in 2018. That was a traumatic experience for me. But I'm proud to say that he did watch Scream the other day, one of the sequels. It's all worked out. He just had to take his own pace. But Josephine's clearly at an advanced. I mean, having the anatomy book definitely sets things up.
yeah,
that's
yeah. We were
amazing.
at we were at a like a swap meet like in our neighborhood, like in this part of the mountains. There's like this cool swap meet that happens every year, and we went, and she was like running around. She like came by. She's like, "Daddy, come here. I found something I want." And so we like went over. There's this guy. He's got all this stuff on a blanket on the ground, and it is a full on um medical like anatomical model of all the organs in a chest, in your torso from like the 60s. It was like old and like real. It was, and she's just like, I want that, And so I was like, okay. So I was like talking to the guy, and he's like this, retired doctor, and he's like, yeah, yeah. He's like, dude, just take it. She really wants it, and it makes me happy to know that like there's a little kid that's really getting, and it's in her room, and she sees it, and we pull it apart all the time, and we got to put the lungs in, we got to put the bowels in, but we got to put it back together the way it's supposed to go. And she like she knows where your spleen, she knows where her spleen is, right? She's like, where's your spleen? She goes, right here. Crazy.
It's scary to think that a 4-year-old has a better working knowledge of the body than I do, but it seems that's where this conversation is
But
going.
not surprising, because we know you, Neil. So,
That's true.
you're
This is
just a
true.
guy who's happened to have his head in the sand, as am I. That's
Learn
true.
helplessness, my wife calls it. Learn helplessness. Uh, Duff, you travel a lot, in fits and starts when you're shooting and touring and opening up bakeries or whatever they're doing appearance. You have many facets of your life and a professional life. How talk to us about like the logistics and the emotions of obviously it was a totally different thing. Like get up, go wherever you got to go, get on the plane, before kids. Now you've got this 4-year-old.
Mm.
There's schedules, there's naps, there's tears. How do you do that?
When I'm around, I'm doing stuff. When I'm not around, my wife holds down the fort. She's a badass. Like she's incredible. And that was, I tell you, one of the coolest things for me, I think, was uh like seeing my wife go from like single, cool chick to mom, and like how like just effortless it was for her, like to just completely, like it was just one of those things, like when we had Josephine, like she just knew what to do all the time. She just knows, like, oh, like she's hungry, she pooped, whatever, like just those instinct, when you see them like turn on and like come alive, it's like, wow. It's really something. So I think, that the biggest thing is like, Jonna is, she's incredible, and she's a stay-at-home mom, like, so that's this is her job, so it makes it really really easy, as far as like just the logistics of if I gotta go to New York for a week, or I got, I'm constantly getting on the plane. Um, it makes it really easy, but also I try to get them to come with me, pretty much everywhere I go. So if I gotta, like we went, I had an appearance at like the Potato Expo in Denver, and I was like, you guys, let's go to the Potato Expo because like that's fun, right? It's the Potato Expo. There's going to be a bunch of potatoes there. We're going to learn all about potatoes. Kids love that stuff. It's really, it's cool. So, I just like because when I travel, I also get to do really cool stuff. I just 2 days ago on Sunday, or no, was that yesterday? What's today? Tuesday? Tuesday? Yeah. So Sunday, I just started doing a one-man show, and I performed it at Comic-Con in San Diego, and they came to Comic-Con. It's like how cool, like Josephine got to like walk around and like see all like why are there all these adults dressed up like aliens and stuff, like it's great, it's so I think like if anything, it's a huge positive, the fact that I got to travel so much because one, sometimes they get to come. And also too, like it's like I one of my like favorite parts of traveling is finding a really ridiculous magnet from wherever I am and bringing it back to them and showing them a weird magnet, or like a mug or something. It's usually a magnet, and I'll bring it and when I get home, like now Josephine's like, "Did you bring a magnet?" And I'm like, "Yep, I got a magnet." So it's like that, there's like that, that part's kind of fun, and yeah, I don't know. You just sort of, you figure it out, like you figure it out. She's been road tripping since she was 4 months old. She was 4 months old. We were filming in Knoxville, and um, I was like, okay, well, I have to be in Knoxville for the whole summer. You guys are coming with me because I'm not going to be gone for the whole summer by myself. So we got in the truck and we drove to Knoxville. And ever since then, like there's no screen in the car. There's no, there's no iPad. Like when we're in the car, like we're either talking about stuff, listening to music, or staring out the window.
It's funny. I was going to ask about screen time because you mentioned Bluey, so we know that she's watching something. Does Josephine watch like any of the baking shows? Does she see you on TV? Has she seen Happy Fun Bake Time? What's she watching?
Let's see, she loves Bluey. She likes Paw Patrol. She hasn't really watched it as much anymore. Um, she really likes all the Studio Ghibli stuff, like Spirited Away and Totoro, and we just watched The Secret World of Arietti for the first time, and I love that movie. And I was like, I think she's really gonna like this one because we kind of live in a weird house. It's like really kind of old. It's an old A-frame, and it's got lots of little sort of nooks and crannies, and it's a cool place. And the Arietti's kind of like that. She loved that movie. She loves My Neighbor Totoro. She loves Ponyo. She'll watch Ponyo every night if we let her. Um, so yeah, cool stuff. Like, I think we've been like pretty good about like making sure if she's watching TV, she's watching stuff that's not rotting her brain, you know. A lot of those cartoons are just it's just absolute garbage, Like, oh, soul sucking. You're just like, dude, wait, come on. What are you guys doing?
You're
What is
talking to
this?
someone who's firmly in the skibbity toilet era. So,
Oh, dude.
oh yeah. Well, I've surrendered and gone into a whole new world of things. Really, yeah. The art of the short form. Um, it's like so you're able to do these road trips. We actually were pretty. I don't know if you call it strict, but pretty. Heath didn't have a lot of screen time in the first couple years of his life. What was one of the ways that we kind of caved or had to make concessions was actually when we moved to Austin from LA. We're like, okay, what are you gonna do with this guy in the car? So like, you're pretty good about. She's just cool, just in the car, all
Hmm.
good. and you guys just
Yeah, we listen to we listen to good music, like John is also a musician, so we both got pretty good taste. Like Josephine loves James Brown, you know?
mm.
Like she loves Parliament. She listens to she can sing Africa by Toto all the way through. One time, I'm gonna name drop. One time I was on the Kelly Clarkson show when she was filming out here, and they got us a parking spot that's like right in front of the studio on the lot, and so like we pull up and we're parked and we're just sitting in the car because we didn't need to, like we were super early, so me and John and Josephine are just sitting in the car. I got the windows rolled down and we're listening to Black Sabbath, right? Like pretty loud. And Josephine's on my lap and I'm like drumming on the steering wheel and she's drumming on the steering wheel. And Nick Offerman walks by and he like looks in the car and it's like he just sees like this, 2-year-old girl sitting on my lap and we're blasting Black Sabbath. And he was just like keeps walking. Like I approve of this. But yeah, we just, like it really it was sort of one of those things where I was like, it's not it's not hard to keep them off that stuff if you never let them get on it, you know? And it's just that, well, like once you kind of cave and you allow it, then it's like, getting it away. I mean, there are some kids that have some real serious emotional issues because of screens. They're real, like things. There's like you just see these kids and you know that it's going to take a long time to rewire that brain because the way that they developed was not it. It wasn't the way to go. We just know that. We know that, right? We've seen it with our own eyes. It's not there's no government study you need to look at. There's no oh well, this person said this or this person said that. You look at kids who look at screens all the time and they can't handle
Mm.
the real world. They can't handle human interaction. And Josephine, like that fool will make a friend literally anywhere with anybody. Like it doesn't like we were we were stuck in Chicago because our plane, like something happened with our plane, so we had to stay in Chicago. So I took Josephine to Lou Malnati's and we like ordered a pizza. We're like sitting in the basement of that place, just sitting there waiting for our pizza. And like some lady sat down and we had gone to there was a Build-A-Bear right next to it, so we went and we got this little dog, and this lady sits down and Josephine had a half an hour conversation with her about her this dog. It was hilarious, and like I looked at the lady, I was like, I'm sorry, and she's like, no, it's great, I love it, Josephine she will talk to anybody. But I think part of it is that um whenever we're out, like she sees, like I talk to a lot of people because a lot of people see me and they're like, "Hey, you're that guy," And so, like, I've been trying to like figure out what, like, if she understands, like, sort of like that I'm famous. You know what I mean? Or if it's just like, yeah, my dad like gets up in front of 500 people and makes food and they clap. You know, like is that like it's a weird like I wonder what that looks like for her. What does it mean?
Has she
That's
started
that's one that
pre-K?
I'm like I don't know. Go ahead, sorry.
Is she doing pre-K yet? Is she in school? Any kind of school,
Yeah,
daycare, or
so she
whatever?
did she just finished preschool. She's going to do TK
Mm-hmm.
starting in September.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
Um
little skewed because you live in LA, and there's going to be a lot of people that she'll meet whose parents could be famous. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I think that becomes a big thing, is because she's having a pretty wild adventure. Being your daughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Traveling as
Yeah.
much, having people come up to you and stuff like that. So she's just like, this is her normal, right? That's her
Yeah.
normal. I would wager to a degree when she's in school that would be, some an opportunity to meet other parents who do other things or whatever, and may not get stopped at the street or whatever. But I'm kind of curious, like she's already had such a pretty fantastic childhood thus far. What do you think is
That's
going
the
to
goal,
be? Yeah, I know, right? I mean, what a
right?
gift. What do you think is something you want? What do you think could be the most? I mean, a lot of years to go, but what do you think is the most memorable moment she's had so far? Anything that you've seen her kind of go, wow, she is super mesmerized or wilding out right now by something that some event, some experience that you've shared with her.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um,
Neil wrote it, so just so you know.
we saw a rocket launch at Kennedy Space Center that she still talks about. Um, huh. God, there's been so many. It's weird because like we tell her stories about when she was a baby and she like remembers them. Like like she sort of like has created from our stories memories, you know? Like she's got this little zebra that was a prop on one of the baking championship shows. And like when the episode was over, the art department was like, "Hey, do you wanna give this zebra to your daughter?" I was like, "Oh yeah, she'll love that." It's just a little zebra, it's like this big. And I brought it home and brought it back to the apartment we were staying at in Knoxville. And I came upstairs with it and I was holding it and John was holding her and I was like, "Look what I got." And she literally squealed with joy. Like she was like she literally squealed and like took it and she smiled so big. She was like 5 months old and she was just like couldn't believe it was just amazing. And she still has it. And like whenever she picks it up, she's like, "I squealed when I got this," and that's one that's kind of definitely in there. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like it's funny because it's usually not like big grandiose things. Like it's not the redwoods, right? It's not. It's like the chicken tenders that she got that one time at the movie theater that were amazing, that she remembers. Like, we'll watch I don't know, there'll be like a movie that we like saw in the theater, and then every time she sees that movie, she's like, "That's the first time I had milk duds," or something like that.
Everything is new. Do you find that
Yeah.
it's like you're getting to experience things for the first time again?
Oh yeah. Oh dude, that's like it's just it's one of the best parts is like being able to like feel the fear of getting on a ride for the first time,
Mm.
or like t- I don't know, just like seeing her like conquer her own fears is one of those things that's really beautiful. But all those things, like I got to give her first piece of pizza and look at her face as she tried it and was like, "Oh man, pizza's great." you know uh there's that movie Chef with
Yeah.
John Favreau, right?
Yes.
Do you remember the scene when they're in New Orleans and they go to get beignets, him and his boy go get beignets, and you see like the kids like taking a bite and there's powdered sugar, and he's eating it, and like the voiceover, he was just like, "You only get your first beignet once." And it's just like that line like has just stuck with me. And it's my favorite part is like seeing all the, not just like tasting something for the first time, or doing something scary for the first time, but like seeing that moment of accomplishment when like she's like trying to figure something out and then she does, and like seeing her like, sorry, feeling good, right? I figured that out. And like, just that there's that moment, just that pure, like, pleasurable moment of like figuring something out that we all get and it never goes away. But like seeing her like get that, and that's the drug that you want him to chase. That's the thing. That's the high that you want him to chase. It's like, man, that felt good. I didn't know how to do something, and nobody told me how to do it, and I figured it out. That's cool. So things like that you really, I really try to encourage.
Yeah.
How do you
Sounds like you
want?
really I'm getting the sense you're enjoying being a dad. Are you feeling that, Ollie? I think it's coming through.
Maybe we're just maybe he's a Tuesday morning guy. Maybe Duff is a Tuesday
Yeah.
morning guy.
Getting him
But
on a
I
good day.
but I have to tell you, I've spent a little bit of time with you over the years, and certainly right now, you are on cloud nine, my friend. It is a
Yeah.
absolute
Uh,
joy to just be a to see you this happy, and also
uh,
actually having you on the pod to kind of nail home this truth is, one of the greatest things about having a kid, raising a kid, is to re-experience certain joys,
yeah.
like I totally get. It's weird. The food stuff has kind of faded a bit for me because he's had a lot of those first bites. But showing my kid when I just literally, we talked about this in the pod, but I just a couple weeks ago I went into Heath's room and I was like, "Do you know about Doctor Evil?" And I pulled that sucker up on YouTube, and then we watched Austin Powers that night. And then last night we watched Happy Gilmore. One, because two is out too. Just like it's just. I mean that's been my new jam. My new juice is
How old is he?
he's 13.
Oh, dude, that's great.
Yeah, dude,
That's great.
yeah.
And like, is it like when he's like watching Happy Gilmore, he's like, this is like old.
Yeah, no. I mean, for sure. We. Here's the thing. He's gotten to the stage now because a couple years ago, I think I showed him Gladiator, and he goes, "This is pretty cringy." They like he knows now what's old. He knows I'm old. He reminds me of that all the time. But like, dude, some things just hit, dude. Like he straight up, like, I was excited. I love Carl Weathers and all the scenes with Carl Weathers all the way up until the end where you see the crocodile. I mean, the whole crocodile thing. He was just like all over it, and it's like the best part is like this is perfect because he's 13. He's a 13-year-old boy watching Happy Gilmore for the first time. That's just like that's it, dude. That's like, have you ever had coffee and orange juice at the same time for breakfast? This is good stuff. You've got a new habit. You've got a new habit right here. And for sure, the Dr. Evil. I mean, we were doing, it's freaking freezing in here, Mr. Bigglesworth, like forever to each other. That's
Did you
just
show
been
him
my
Predator
jam.
yet?
Yeah, we got to get into it. I mean, he's just, like I said, there was a big learning curve with the more scarring stuff. But then, he jumped into the anime stuff. Like, COVID was a real trip too, because, that's when we had to
Sure.
you wanted to talk about making concessions to the screen. Welcome to freaking pandemic. That
Oh
was
yeah.
we didn't have a
Yeah.
video game machine until then. We were like, fine, here you go. Now it's a
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
other world. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many Predator alien things. There's almost like too much stuff. I don't even know where to begin. But yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, I'm enjoying the kind of like immature humor phase right now, uh,
Sure. Totally.
because I'm immature and I like
Yeah.
I'm happy staying there. I have a question for you. How do you want Josephine to think of you, remember of you decades from now? Like, if someone's like, "Hey, tell me about your dad." Oh, my dad was, boom. What would you want her to say, or what do you envision her saying? I think
I
you're
just I just want to be like, my dad fucking loved me. That's it. You know? Like when she thinks about me, she's just like, that guy that guy had my back. That guy
yeah,
was taking care of me.
yeah. Well said.
That's it. That's it. Um,
It's so nice.
yeah, I mean, like, especially I think just like with my own, dad situation, like I know how I feel about my dad, and I know why I feel the way I do about my dad. And I think one of my guiding principles is Josephine will never feel about me the way I feel about my dad, you know? And it's just like, it sounds almost like kind of cliche, but I just sort of like every situation, I'm like, what would my dad do in this situation? I'm going to do the exact opposite thing, And it's like literally that's, kind of one of my sort of guiding principles is, oh, would my dad handle the situation like that? Cool. I'll try something else.
Yeah.
You know? Uh,
It's interesting. I mean, I think we've all had uh it's been rare, though I'm trying to rack my brain if it's happened. But I think most people who come on, most people in our lives who we talk to, pretty complicated relationship with their parents, at least anyone interesting, anyone worth their salt, you know? Like, sometimes my wife and I will go through like all our friends or people we love, and we're like, oh no, remember they have a fucked up relationship with their mom.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
so we're, and I think part of it is just we're figuring out the world, figuring out our place in it, and I think it's something that we struggle with too, because we're like, how are we fucking them up? How are we fucking them up without knowing? Because of course we don't want to repeat a lot of mistakes. I have found, I hate to like, I hate it when people blame an entire generation. So I'm not gonna say it's a boomer thing. It's a, greatest generation thing. However, I do think it's a cultural, the people that have more complicated relationship with their parents, I think oftentimes it's just because their parents have a hard time like saying sorry, letting go, reflecting themselves. And I think I want to believe that like if we are fucking up, and we are, that when our kids tell us the specific ways we fucked up 30 years from now, we'll go, ah, shit.
yeah.
Well, how can we make that? How can I make this better now versus what we've often been met with, I think, in our generation, which is just like, we did the best we could. You're ungrateful. And it's like, hey,
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like that as like when you become parents, there are some things that you understand, sort of like like a priori, like there are some things that like empirically that you just understand about your own parents. And I think one of those things is that like we're making this up as we go. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Nobody does. And my parents didn't know what they were doing either. Right. But I think I have a good sort of internal compass that sort of points me to, correct parenting techniques. And, like there's parts of me that like I forgive my parents for everything that happened. I'm like very much like my past was my past. That happened. It made me into the person I am right now. The person I am right now is pretty great, and things are good, right? Things are good. And it's not something to drag around. This is probably the first time I've ever talked about this in any sort of media setting, it's just not part of my identity, right? Like it's not something that it's not some armor that I coat myself in, as to sort of shield myself from, taking responsibility for my action. But it's part of what happened. And I think what we do is there's parts of us that we forgive our parents because they were just kids and they were humans and they were just figuring it out just like we're all trying to figure out. Then there's other parts that I'm like even more mad, right? Because then there are things that like I remember, being said to me or done to me. And when I think about that and my daughter, and I like to be the type of person to be able to say or do those things to your kid, uh, is mystifying to me. So I get even more mad. Like, how could you? Like, we're part of you just like, okay, well, yeah, that stuff happened. And then you like picture your own child and you're like, wow, you were able to allow your fear and your weakness, uh mastery over your words and your deeds. Like this is, I don't know, like it's complicated, right? I mean, all of it, we all have complicated relationships with our parents, but it's definitely like, when you become a parent, like you're I think all of our thinking changes on the subject of where our parents, did right and wrong, you know.
Well said. Duff,
Eh,
you have been so generous with your time. We're going to ask one more thing of you,
Sure.
uh, and hopefully it will be fun, and that is that Ollie is going to bring you to the lightning round.
Here we
Oh,
go,
okay.
Duff. The dad lightning round. You'll be good at this. You'll be good at this. You're pretty much good at everything.
I'm pretty
you do.
verbose. I'm not good at lightning rounds. I
Oh,
usually mess up lightning rounds.
this will be a wonderful challenge then. Number one, here we go. Dad lightning round. All right, Duff. Here's the challenge: parenting advice in 5 words or less.
Listen to no one except yourself.
Close enough. I think that was 6. Choose a superpower: teleportation or invisibility.
Teleportation.
Okay.
I like to
Fav-
travel.
Favorite? Yeah, you do. It'd save you time at the airport. Favorite book to read with your daughter?
Where the sidewalk ends, and Professor Warmbug and the Search for the Zimperumpa Zoo.
I was expecting to hear the one about the anatomy. This is a great one. Crab cakes or oysters?
Fried oysters?
It's your call, my friend. Crab cakes or
If it's
oysters?
if it's fried oysters, I'll take fried oysters.
Yeah, impressive.
Huh.
All right, since we're on the oyster thing, East Coast or West Coast oysters?
West Coast.
Fair enough. Okay, favorite sound your daughter makes?
Um,
Uh-oh. What's going on?
There's a lot, but whenever whenever she gets confused, she this is just natural. It just comes out of her. Like we didn't teach this to her, but like when she gets confused, she's just like, "Huh?" Like it's this funny like goose honk that
Yeah.
it just means like she doesn't know what's going on. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah, kind of a little sick, just exaggerated, like, huh? Huh? I
Huh?
like that.
Yeah, like, but it's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's different. It's like just a natural sound that comes out of her. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, something more like primal, avian-ish, of avian
Yeah.
origin, even. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
now you may have gone through all the music, but in case there hasn't been an experience you have not shared, an album you can't wait to share with your daughter.
Oh God. I mean, geez. I'm gonna say, uh, "Surrender to the Night" by Trans Am. She's not ready for it. She's not ready for it, but she will be.
Okay.
Uh,
Coffee or Red Bull?
Coffee.
Kid
Come on.
song, kid song you don't hate.
I can sing the entire Moana soundtrack,
Okay.
including all the backup parts and the parts that are not in English.
I could hear you. You know what? I would have put you up there to voice that if The Rock wasn't available. Ingredient you can't live without.
Human.
Wait, what'd you say? Oh, cumin.
Human.
I thought you said human. I was like, I'm trying to. Are you being deep here? Okay, got it. Cumin. Got it. Greatest dad in history could be real or fictional.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bandit.
Bandit. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite TV show to watch with your daughter?
How It's Made.
I want to check that one out. How it's made.
Yeah.
What's that
Or,
on?
you know what? Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers. All right. Heck
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Duff Goldman. The last question of the lightning round. Favorite part about being a dad?
I think my favorite part is the unsolicited hugs. Like when the hugs just happen, you know? Like for no reason. And
Mm.
she's just like, I love you, Daddy. Right? Out of
Mm.
nowhere for like, it's not even like one of those things. Like she'd be like, Dad, Daddy. And I'll like stick my head, like, what's going on? And she'd be like, I love you. And then, go back to her thing. I think that's
Mm.
that's one of them.
It takes me back.
Beautiful.
Takes me back.
Yeah.
The hugs don't come
Duff
as often as
Goldman.
they should.
What's that?
I was going to say it
Oh,
takes
no,
me
I
back a little bit. Because at my
Yeah.
age, at my current era, the hugs don't come as often as they used to.
Mm.
But, they can be meaningful. More importantly,
Yeah, you know
Neil,
what though? I hug my mom a lot more than I used to.
Oh, there you go.
Now,
Yeah.
after now I'm like, oh wait a minute. I love these hugs. That means my mom loves those hugs, so I should give her more of them.
100.
Yeah.
Well, one thing's for certain. You are the world's greatest dad. See what we did? We always bring it back. We bring it back. Thank you for being
That's
here with
good.
us. Thank you for making time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is really great.
Yeah, this was awesome.
World's greatest dad, he's the world's greatest dad, and he calls them voice.